That's our first horse rider combination through the course there. 8 faults on the clock. And that was Kareem Perez Nunez and Kamina Kay. So we're going to see 37 competitors today in this class presented by Ram Trucks. This is CSI 2-Star Grand Prix. And it's going to be a great follow-up to last night's event, which was absolutely amazing. Packed house here at Angelstone, a record-breaking crowd. It was so great to welcome all of our international friends here to the stadium. And great memories had by all, I'm sure. Moving on to our next rider here in the order. I think it's an inner. Four faults there for our rider there, 75-38 there on the board. Up and over the last fence there, rail coming down there for Kathleen Tyree and Camilla Z, 76.52. Next up, one of our great Canadian riders here. This is Wesley Newlands and Maestro Van Het Binnenval. This is an entry from Westlands Farm. This is a 10-year-old.
It's the first round, and then those clear will go through to the jump off in the format that you have perhaps come to expect. But a good fast time for Catherine. The next starter on our list is Wesley Newlands with Maestro Van Het Binnenveld. Wesley's just outside the top 600 in the Longines World Rankings and represents Canada. Been competing in various different 2- and 3-star competitions around America recently. Has come here from Traverse City. Oops. Oh, I think Wesley's done extremely well to hang on there and not part ways. Just a little bit of a miscommunication at fence 3, the Cabana Coast Oxa. But safely now, really well brought back
for sure.
Fence 4, the double there. She had just one fence down in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City earlier this month with this horse, finishing in 20th place. But she had a 5th place finish in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City again at the end of July. So come here for from some very good results.
She was also on the podium in that class with Catherine. She finished 2nd to Kent Farrington, and Catherine was 3rd.
Yeah, great time. Shame that we won't be seeing them in the jump off now, otherwise we would have liked to have seen what they could do against the clock. This, interestingly, is a horse that was previously ridden a while ago by Victoria Birdsall of the USA and by Erin Ballard back in 2020. It was really nice around the rest of the course, actually, so did extremely well to bring things back after that miscommunication, but does well to get the 4 faults. Moving on then to Israel, to Sydney Schulman. Sydney Schulman, Desiderio. She's coming a little bit out of order here. Rides J Boston SE, a horse that's owned by Jill Schulman. Sydney on the Helios team to take that fantastic win in the team competition on Friday night. That was a brilliant performance from all 3 riders. The 3rd win of the season for Team Helios, with a 3rd different lineup.
This is a really young horse for Sid, who I saw this morning, and she was thrilled with her horse last night, even though they didn't go clear. Such a big track, a big 5-star. And then I reminded her, as the pole comes down, I reminded her how great the team competition night was. And she, oh yeah, that horse was great too.
Yeah, it's actually been a really action-packed week, hasn't it? You know, we've had that team competition, then the 5-star Grand Prix. It's been several days of really top-level sport.
Hard to keep track of.
Yeah. Takes a slightly more inside line to the plank, which suits this horse.
So no surprise, a blazing fast time, 73.04, with just the 1 rail.
That's actually the horse that she rode in the Nations Cup competition at Wellington back in March of 2021 as well. Nice to see them back here.
I think with the earlier start time, they're allowing the riders, if they're ready, to switch a couple places in the order so no one is rushed.
Yeah, it looks like it. We had Sydney as 9th on our list, but comes a little bit earlier. We turn, though, to another home competitor for Canada. This is David Pegg, who rides Big Girl Z, a 9-year-old mare by Big Star out of a Berggraf mare. David rode this horse to a 4th place finish in the 2-star Grand Prix at Caledon in July. A clear and then 2 down in the jump off there for that very good result. His last 3 results with this horse have all been in the top 10. But it's a relatively new partnership. It's one that was previously ridden by Jens Wawrauschek of Germany and by Christopher Lindenberg of Denmark. Both of those riders rode this to the 1-star and young horse competitions. Now, as I say, it's a 9-year-old and David's taking it up to the 2-star level. Shame to have that Kubota upright down. That's fence 7 around the course. Just got a little bit deep there and just wasn't able to quite get the height.
So he'll finish with 12 faults, 74.67 the time, a couple rails coming down toward the latter half of the course.
Yeah, 3 down in total for David Pegg, gives him a total of 12. 74.67, it's a good time. Not the fastest, that goes to Sydney Schulman so far. But we move on again to another Canadian competitor, to Samantha Rice. She's riding Ringwood Zebo.
One of the youngest riders in the class today. Samantha's just 22 years old. This is an entry of NRG Farm LLC. Derek Cairns looks like he's in the in-gate watching. She trains with him.
Yeah, this is a horse that Samantha began riding in 2019. Derek Herons has ridden it as well as Andrew Bournes and Declan Egan, those Irish riders all taking the reins previously on this horse. She finished 10th in a 2-star 2-phase competition at Tryon quite recently with a good double clear. Also 11th with another double clear in a 2-star 2-phase competition at Lexington back in June. So a few good results for this pair so far. Been fairly consistent, and it's encouraging to see quite a few, 3 double clears on their record in the last couple of months. Talented for a young rider here. Heads now towards this final line. 13 fences in this course. Just alongside the VIP area. Really nicely done. It's a good clear round, and she's inside the time allowed, so it gives us our first clear to go into the jump off.
And the first fist pump of the day. Nicely done.
Very nicely done indeed. First rider into the jump off then. Next rider on our list could well join her though, if her successes from the previous competitions in the week are anything to go by. She's had a brilliant week with Cristiano. This is Amy Miller. She rides GCS Athena here this morning. This one is just an 8-year-old. Owned by the Brook Street Stables Corporation. An 8-year-old mare. This one's been ridden by Michael Pender of Ireland. In 7-year-old competitions, he took this to the Lanarken World Young Horse Breeding Championships as a 7-year-old for a 12th place in the 7-year-old final. But other than that, this is this horse's first international show, a young horse.
Just clipped the front of that oxer and then a second rail as well. Obviously a very new ride for Amy. Giving her a good school around the ring.
But she's a great confidence-giving rider for the horses, I think, and a great rider to develop the younger horses as well, and certainly giving this horse a really positive ride around here, which is what it's all about at this stage. You can really see the potential that this pair have.
Yeah, the rest of it's been really nice.
It's 3 down then. The time is 78.79. So a total of 12 for Amy Miller. We still just have the one rider going through to the jump off. That is Samantha Rice. Another rider who we've seen in the 5-star competitions as well this week is Vanessa Hood. Vanessa rides Easy Girl here in this competition. This is pretty impressively bred. It's by Conthagos out of an Intender mare. The mare's name is Nanina. And an 11-year-old here. She rode this horse in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City a couple of weeks ago for 4 fences down, actually, so not quite going their way then. But Vanessa's got quite a few good rides up and down the levels. This is a former ride of Kemp Farrington,
who's due next in the ring. Up and over the final fence, and Vanessa Hood will join the jump off. So she joins Samantha Rice as the first 2 clears of this morning FEI 2-star Grand Prix. Vanessa Hood and Easy Girl, 78.78 their time, within the time allowed of 79, just within the time allowed. And it is Kent Farrington who won the 2-star qualifier, but on Shadow Lou, a horse from Chaco Blue. This is Tulena. He's 12th of an expected 42 to contest for this top prize of $37,000 in this meter 45 2-star Grand Prix today. Tulane is another 8-year-old we have going in this class. A young mare for Kent, as he's called this the last couple of days a rebuilding year as he tries to bring along some new top horses. And even though it's a rebuilding year, he seems to get a couple of wins every week. Heading down the final bending line to the final fence, the Premier Equestrian fence. Up and over, no problem. Well within the time allowed. And another clear, 74:36 is the time for Kent. The first gentleman to join the jump off. Samantha Rice, Vanessa Hood, and now one of the best riders in the world, the superstar Kent Farrington, will have a chance to see in the jump off later today. Darren Deline is next to tackle this track. This is an entry of Blue Trim LLC. He's on ODL VDM. Another 8-year-old is Chestnut Gelding by Diamante Simile. Another Canadian rider who's part of the Northern Lights Major League Show jumping team.
Another younger horse here than another 8-year-old.
Skies over that triple bar. Little tight to that. Upright, but got away with it. Working on a really nice course here. Couple of the horses have gone in between 4 and 8. He went around the first of the double combination. The time seems to be okay, though. Ooh. Oh, did he hit 79?
Looks like he might be absolutely on the nose there.
It's a good one. The judges have confirmed he hit right at 79, so he is at the time allowed, which counts as within the time allowed. So congratulations to Darren Deline. Back-to-back clear rounds, Kent Farrington, and now Darren Deline, 4 into the jump-off already.
Pretty impressive to have it absolutely on the nose. I was just speaking to the course designer, and they've amended the time allowed down from 82 to 79 seconds, so made a slight adjustment there. We come, though, to Audrey Schulz.
So these course designers have been stingy with the time all week. So no surprise that in this big 2-star they do adjust the time.
If we just take a little look around the course with Audrey, that's fence 2, fence with a curving line, right-handed to fence 3, the Cabana Coast Oxer. Goes right-handed again now for A and B through the middle of the arena. Then a left-handed curve. A lot of S shapes here again, a little bit like yesterday to fence 5. Left-handed again down through the middle of the arena. 6 ABC, the triple combination.
Yeah, the more we watched last night, the S became like a figure 8.
Yeah. But there was plenty for them to look at there. Fence 8, quite an imposing looking triple bar, then to a more delicate fence at 9. We then go to 10 on a left-handed curve, the BFL Oxer. That was in a similar position last night as well. And then this plank fence, which is of course so delicate. At fence 11. Then this is the interesting line, isn't it, where they've got to sort of pick their way through the middle of the arena to 12 and 13, the Premier Equestrian Oxer to finish. That's quite a quick time.
Very quick and clear, and I heard a really hard knock, and I was looking right at the rail, and it never fell. So good for Audrey into the jump off, and now I think we've had 3 in a row. Back to back to back clears. 5 are clear and within the time of the 42 expected starters. Similar to last night, remember we had 3 quick clears and thought, oh my gosh, this is such a big track, a very difficult course. How many clears are they going to get? And then sort of everything came back down to earth, and some of the horses did have some difficulty getting around, and it was just a handful who made it through.
Yeah, not too many in that jump off, and as you say, we had a good few problems early on and a few in a row, but Sean Jobin also competed in that 5-star Grand Prix last night. Competes for Canada, and he rides Cuba Libre 5 here. Owned by the Foxridge Farm Stables, one that Sean's had since earlier this year. They actually won their first international competition together.
Sean was 12th last night, just 1 rail down on Darius, so he finished top 12 in that 5-star.
Which is still a really impressive
Yeah.
result. Had a win in a speed class at Tryon in July with this horse as well. It was a 3-star competition.
He also opts to go around 4A to set up this Kubota jump along the rail. But with plenty of time to do it, although the 8 faults will hurt.
Yeah, slots him into 11th place so far. I'm not sure that he'll stay there though in this competition.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're just having a look down our list. We're having most of the riders coming in order now, and so Dara Kerins follows Sean Jobin. Dara rides Intuitive, another one owned by Eve Jobs.
He's got quite a few of her top level horses, giving them great rides and keeping them going. He's here with the whole family. Saw his wife in one of the jumper classes earlier in the week. She's an excellent rider in her own right.
Gets quite close to the wing there. Dara's been riding this horse since 2021, taking it up to the 3-star level. Had a win and 3 second places with this horse. Second in a 2-star Grand Prix at Wellington earlier in the year.
He was really fussing with his mouth there, heading to that jump.
And so at this point in the course, these fences actually do come up really quite quickly, so there isn't too much space for him to then turn back around, but safely over the second time.
Yep.
But we can now see the clock racking up. It's going to be quite costly for time. Nicely down the last couple of fences, but quite considerably over the time allowed. Gives him 25 in total, 95.75 the time, so he's quite well down the running. Just to give you an idea of the size of this class then as well, we've got 37 on our list here this morning. And quite a lot of riders that we saw in the 5-star Grand Prix coming back here as well. Mark Blumen comes back, Kristen van der Veen, Natalie Dean, Erin Ballard, Callie Schott will round things out at the end of the class for us. Simon McCarthy as well. So it's a good opportunity to see some of these really top names bringing forward some less experienced horses perhaps. This is Sam Walker with Angelica Hero Z. This one is a 10-year-old.
Owned by Claire Wen.
Sam, a member of the Show Plus Northern Lights team. That's what the little icon next to his name demonstrates to you. And again, this is a relatively new partnership. He's had this in some 4-star competitions back in January actually at Wellington. No international competitions for this horse since then, so nice to see them out doing this competition. This is one that came from Christophe van der Hasselt of Belgium. The weather forecast does tell us that there will be rain, but it's really quite bright here, so you see Sam with his sunglasses on, making sure that he can see this course properly. Nice clear though.
He saw it very well.
Yeah, really did. Not letting that affect him. So another great clear. He's the 6th rider to go through to the clear round, to the jump off.
Young 22-year-old rider Samantha Rice with Derek Herons at the in-gate was the first clear of the morning, so super round for her, followed by Vanessa Hood, and then Kent Farrington. Darren DeLynn, an American rider Audrey Schultz on Darkito is also clear, and now Sam Walker becomes the 6th to join the jump-off list.
Again, we've really seen a lot of good lineups in these competitions, a mixture of established talent and also young up-and-coming talent as well. Some fantastic young riders. Taylor St. Jacques comes next. She's on the under-25 jumping rankings.
This is a rider I've seen go since she was on the ponies. She won the medal finals and the Washington International Equitation final. Rode collegiately at Auburn and now focused on the jumpers.
Jack Hilly's been a really good partner for her. She's ridden this in a good few 2-star Grand Prix. Just one down in the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City a couple of weeks ago.
And a light rub there, and she got away with it.
It's interesting sometimes to see these different young riders' approaches into the sport. And, you know, you're just touching there on some of her previous successes, but some have come up through the young rider and junior competitions in the jumpers. Some come from the equitation, some from the hunters, and you know, it's great to see so many different paths available to them to get to the top level of the sport. But what a clear round.
Absolutely. 76.32, a very quick time. No problem there. Taylor St. Jacques will return for the jump off. You know, she was almost a professional pony rider. She was blessed with a lot of really fancy ponies, a very, very hard worker. She was trusted by a lot of owners to ride ponies, and then that turned into some opportunities in the equitation and the junior hunters. And then Lucy Davis, one of her coaches and trainers, really encouraged her to go to college. And so she went to Auburn and rode on the equestrian team there, obviously excelled at that level. And here she is now doing the Grand Prix and up to the 2-star level.
Really great to see, and our 7th rider going through to the jump off. And interestingly, the 3rd rider who is on the Show Plus Northern Lights team. Quite a busy lineup for them in this jump off. Richie Maloney though comes next with Sherlock 46, another rider from that 5-star Grand Prix and from the team competition. Sherlock is a 9-year-old gelding. Horses that Richie's been riding to the 5-star level here have been Roxy Music, Cocoa Beach and Huzzah, so he's had a very busy week with a number of different top-level horses.
Takes a deep breath as he heads for the triple bar. Very careful with that ram vertical.
I believe this is their first international competition together actually as well. This horse has got a record back in March with an Italian rider, Alessandro Colombo. But this is the first for Richie with this horse.
And an excellent start to the partnership. Clear into the jump off at 75.45.
One of the faster times as well. Going to be quite a good lineup in this jump off. Quite a good few of them in there now.
Already 8. Again, we won't have 42 to go. We're looking at about 37 or so for this morning class, so we're more than halfway through.
On though to another Canadian rider, to James Gillam. He rides the horse Diorazzo de la Baie. It's another 9-year-old. Quite a good few younger horses in this field.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see actually. I do enjoy watching the younger horses. You can really see their potential. You can really see how they've been going. This is one he's had since 2021, the summer of 2021. And 4 top 10 finishes so far for them in their career together. The Cabana Coast Oxer here at fence 3, it's quite close to where we're sitting in the commentary box, has come down quite a few times. I think there's a lot for them to look at as they're coming here towards the stands, towards the tents, and again it comes up quite quickly from the PFAF upright. I think they've also slightly got an eye on the double at 4, so it's really on a turn. Just it's come down for a few people now. The arena party here works so hard managing to get these fences back up super quickly because we get the horses and riders in pretty fast, but it's such a team effort to put on a fantastic show like this, and not only the organisers but everybody down to the arena party really works well together to make it a fantastic event, I think.
Absolutely. Say a couple of the riders this morning said they were tired. A lot going on this week, so much to do. The crowds have been fantastic. They are preloading the horses. The in-gate has run flawlessly. Seems to be no waiting around, which seems to be a prerequisite at horse shows sometimes, but just things moving like clockwork.
Yeah, really impressive, and it's been a fantastic week in terms of experience and almost sort of participation from the audience, really. We had those fantastic halftime shows that really added something, really got the crowd going, really got them excited, kept the momentum through the breaking competition. Hyde Moffat comes next again for Canada with Donjo.
This is the horse he rode in the 2-star qualifier. He was the 5th fastest for Falter, so just one rail down in that qualifier.
I do think it's quite interesting sometimes to look at where these horses have come from before they've made their journeys to their current riders, and this horse has got a very interesting journey as well. It came from Jeroen Dubbeldam of the Netherlands, then via Daniel Coyle, who is a big competitor on the Major League show jumping circuit, and competing at the World Championships and at the Dublin Horse Show. We expect him to be back on the Major League show jumping circuit soon, but that is who this horse was with back in 2019 and 2020 before Hyde took the ride in 2021. But his most recent result is a 4th place and a double clear in a 4-star competition at Wellington with this horse.
And the looks like the plank came down.
They just take the lightest touch to come down those fences. Great on the clock as well.
Yep.
He took that inside turn in front of the 4A element, which there isn't actually a huge amount of space in there.
There's not.
He went in between the flowers, taking that inside line, and I think that's why he's been our fastest time so far. Really saves a lot of time. So sadly, just one down, but of course with that fast time, he goes into 9th place at the moment, just outside the jump off. We do have 4 Canadian competitors already in the jump off as well, so plenty for the spectators this morning to cheer on if they're wanting to cheer on a home competitor. Continuing on with the Canadian theme then, we've got Christine Carlson coming in next with KBS Kiwi.
This is also the horse that she rode in the 2-star qualifier. She just had 1 rail down there. This Irish sport horse, 13 years old.
And again, this is a relatively new partnership. They competed in the 2-star competitions at Lexington back in June.
Well, that was a shame. She got the rail in the A portion of the combination.
Has a very good look at the water tray.
We haven't seen too much of that, but there goes the plank again.
I think she was quite deep there, and of course that's, you do need a fairly deep shot to the plank to be able to get the height and so avoid the horse jumping too flat over the fence, but sadly that then comes down. 3 down then for Christine Carlson and KBS Kiwi. It's a total of 12. It'll put it into 18th place at the moment. Nicolette Hurt was also in many of our top 5-star level competitions this week. She's had a great week and a lot of different rides. This one is Manolo Z, another fairly young horse, a 9-year-old this time.
Double clear in the 2-star qualifier on Manolo Z. 4th place, just missed the podium by about 0.4 of a second. But she was super happy with her clear round. Just a 9-year-old, again, another young horse.
In the 2-star Grand Prix at Traverse City, she just had 1 fence down and 1 for time, which actually is really a pretty good performance. Not perhaps quite reflected in the fact that she was 26th, because just 1 down and 1 for time I think is actually still really quite impressive. But she's had 3 top 10 finishes with this horse out of 5 classes jumped internationally so far, so great record. Nicely through the triple there.
It's been a very smooth round. She took her time to line that up.
Yeah, hopefully she'll still have a bit of an eye on the clock as well, because as you say, it's been a lovely, smooth, balanced round. Certainly a combination that you'd like to see be rewarded with a spot in the jump off. 79 seconds is the time she needs to get home in.
She just pulled up a hair there.
Ooh,
Oh.
she just manages it.
It
Oh.
comes back, the clock comes back, 78.85. Good for her.
Oh, fantastic. I'm really pleased about that. I think that was an extremely well-ridden round. And yeah, definitely a combination I'm excited to see go forward to the jump off. Really beautiful striking horse, actually, with that lovely dapple grey markings.
Gorgeous horse. And the 9th clear of the day, so we have quite a substantial list of horses that will come back, which always makes for an exciting jump off.
It'll have them really going for the time, I'm sure. And, you know, we've got the likes of Kent Farrington in there, who is extremely fast rider. Had a great fast round in the jump off in the 5-star Grand Prix last night, just sadly clipped a fence. Another very fast rider is our next starter, Nicky Galligan. Today he rides Hermione de Lourdes, another 9-year-old.
An entry of Guardian Stables LLC.
The 5-star rides he's had here this week are Unique Star and Jarvis Miss Jordan, those slightly more experienced horses, but he's actually also jumped this horse to the 5-star competitions. That was at Vancouver at the end of May and start of June. And there he was second in a 5-star speed class with this horse. It was a very good shot to the triple bar, I thought.
Yeah, after having the 1 rail down, working on 4. Rest of it looking quite good. Just as I say that, the plank comes down.
Well, nice down the final line, but couple down. 75.99 is the time, but it's 8th and 17th place so far for Nicky Galligan. I think we might have another rider going slightly out of order here, or possibly a scratch with Ashley Baker. We'll confirm that for you as soon as we have a little more information on the order of go here, but Matt Cohn will come next.
On Entrepreneur, an entry of Chadberry Holdings. This is a 13-year-old Dutch warm blood for the veteran rider. Another Canadian rider here in the ring. The crowd is familiar with.
The horse has got the scope, hasn't it, over some
Yes.
of these fences? This is again a fairly new partnership. This is Mac's second international show with this horse, but the previous one was back in December. Oh, in February actually, excuse me. Jumped in some 2-star competitions there. But this was with Veronique Morsink of the Netherlands for quite some time. He's taking this a little bit more steadily than some of our previous competitors. Ugh. Plank still comes down. We haven't seen actually too many planks causing problems so far this week, but this one certainly is.
Exactly. Today is, I think we've seen the plank come down more today than we have the whole week.
Mm. Well, that was the only fence down as well for Mac Cohn. 4 is his total, and he goes into 13th spot. Another key rider for the team competition on Friday night comes next. This is Simon McCarthy with Athletics Hero Z. Or Athletics Hero Z, you might say.
Cronus Ventures LLC, Rock Ridge Farms, listed as the owners. I would say Z, Hero Z. Probably sounds nicer to say Hero Z.
Depends where you're from, perhaps.
Yes.
But yeah, Simon helping the team to another win for Team Helios. He's been on the team for 2 legs now and to 2 wins.
It'll be interesting to see who rides for the team. They will feel the pressure of trying to get to 4 straight. Oh, and that's a shame. The front rail of the double combination comes down.
Yeah, a real shame, actually. I thought that this was looking quite good,
Yeah.
but he's been jumping this horse up to 3-star level.
Sort of barreled through that.
This horse had a couple of 5-star competitions earlier in the year with Brian Mowbray.
Really talented young rider.
Yeah, extremely talented, and it's always a benefit for, you know, riders to get to grips with riding all sorts of different horses, but I think actually it can be a benefit to the horses as well to have a few different pilots that encourages them to sort of think a little bit and really listen to their riders and adapt to different ways of going. And they're just sort of cementing their partnerships, but 2 down sadly for Athletics Hero and Simon McCarthy. 18th place for them as it stands. We have a few more to come still.
Looks like a dozen more.
Grant Seeger just preparing for this competition now with Yogi. Oh, and just double check who our next starter is, because our graphics are showing Erin Ballard, but when we look into the ring,
it is Yogi and Grant Seeger.
does indeed look like Grant
Yes.
Seeger, yes.
And he was cleared into the jump off in the 2-star qualifier, just had 1 rail down and a very fast time. So he was very happy with Yogi's finish in the previous Grand Prix. Has high hopes for this class today.
Yogi's a little older than some of the other horses in the field. A 12-year-old. About the middle of the pack. Comes here fresh from 2 double clears at Tryon as well. So pretty on form pairing.
I think Grant was parked in Tryon for most of the summer.
Yeah, competed this horse between June and the start of June and the end of July actually there.
Taking his time to make sure he gets over these final 2 obstacles clear, and he does.
Well, as you say, great performance in that qualifier, and continues it here in the Grand Prix. Gives us our 10th clear. It's going to be quite the lineup in the jump off. 10 through now. Of course, we had 10 going through in that winning round competition because that's the way that the format works. We have 10 for
That's right.
a next round, so we're getting up to those kinds of numbers here.
Absolutely, but they're all going to be clear. So that's a pretty impressive showing for these horses today.
Well, back with another Canadian competitor now. This is Kelly Robinson with Blues Your Daddy. This is another slightly older horse in this pack. It's a 15-year-old.
I like the name, Blues Your Daddy.
She's been jumping this horse at Caledon, Ottawa and Rockwood in the past. That was back in 2019 though. Had a little bit of a break from international competition, now comes back here to Angelstone tournaments.
So she's pretty familiar with this ring and with the competitions here.
Yeah, they had 3 top 10 finishes here in 2019, a 4th and a 10th in 2-star Grand Prix. Be great to see if she could get another top 10 finish.
Just a little deep there to the ram. And sadly another rail comes down. So quickly it's 8.
Yeah, once you've had one, it's easy to then have that affect the next couple of fences. Successfully down that final line though, so it's 8 for Kelly Robinson and Blues Your Daddy. 77:11 the time, so pretty good on the clock as well. We aren't seeing the time be too influential. We're seeing most of the riders go inside. Perhaps a little bit more of a generous time. We certainly saw the 5-star timing be really very tight and pretty influential.
So another American rider is headed in. This is Sarah Happy. She rode a couple of horses in the qualifier, including this one, which did have 17 faults. Her other horse that she took in just had 3 time faults, so she's going with the gray today. Try to come up with a better result, I'm sure.
Yeah, this horse's name is Zhao de Hirencourt Z. Ugh, what a shame.
And right away gets the PFAF jump. He's going to try to give it a positive ride, I'm sure.
She's jumped this up to 3-star Grand Prix level. But they've had 3 top 10 finishes this year so far.
She's having a little bit of trouble with the lead change and going right. This horse seems to want to go left.
Yeah, she was just struggling, as you say, to get the turn, and I think a little bit struggling to get the horse's attention again. I think it could be quite a strong horse. Interesting to look at the noseband they've got on this horse in terms of aiding a little bit of the control there. Good down the last line though, and so despite that little bit of a query over the turn from 3 to 4, she just picks up 1 fence down and 3 for time, so it's 7 in total for Sarah Happy. That'll put her into 18th place.
Ended up being able to watch quite a bit of the International Hunter Derby from the Rolex Stadium in Lexington last night, and not being able to get a lead change or a turn there would have been 40 points, so it's just 3 time faults here.
Yeah, quite a difference. It just, so long as it doesn't affect the actual jumping, we don't have any issues with that in the jumper classes.
No. It was a beautiful class to watch though last night. Hunt Tosh, who many consider to be the best hunter rider going right now, was 1st and 3rd. Cannon Creek was the big winner. A spectacular, handy round.
On then to Jay Hayes with a horse named Elton John. It's a 13-year-old stallion. This might be the highlight for me in terms of the name. Jay's been riding this horse in a good few two-star competitions. But again, it's had a little bit of a break from international competition. This is their first international show of this year so far.
I'm sure Elton John likes horses. He's
sure.
Englishman, right?
He is.
I'm sure he'd be pleased to know that a horse was named after him. It's probably not the first.
What a great, great round. Within the time allowed as well, gives us our 11th clear.
Go Elton.
So 11 through to the jump off then. The list so far is Samantha Rice, Vanessa Hood, Kent Farrington, Darren DeLynn, Audrey Schulz, Sam Walker, Taylor St. Jacques, Richie Maloney, Nicolette Hurt, Grant Seeger. Now Jay Hayes joins them.
So here's the big winner from last night. The two big wins this week. The cousin of the two big wins this week. I've got the wrong Blumen. This is Mark Blumen. Daniel's not in this class.
Mark also on the lineup for Team Helios, was on that lineup for the winning team as well. This horse is Esther de Maugret.
I heard the announcer say this man needs no introduction. But you could say the same about Mark.
Yeah, certainly both competed in a good number of top-level competitions. Daniel, of course, doing fantastically well this week with those two wins, as you say.
And he's also training. I saw him with a couple younger riders earlier in the week.
This is a new partnership. This was previously ridden by Olivier Perrault of France, who took it to the young horse competitions over in France. So Mark now brings the horse over this side of the pond to compete in this two-star competition.
And looking really good here. Trying to get the turn. Yeah, he fought for that. More of the bending line he needed to get, and he did.
Nothing to add then. It's clear for Mark Blumen and Esther de Maugret. 75.59, a good time as well.
Looks like the first of 6 riders remaining.
Yeah, I think we have a few withdrawals or scratches further down the line. But one of those is not Lauren Hayes. She comes here with Hadesh VDS. 10-year-old stallion by Diarado. We have quite a lot of combinations here for whom this is a fairly new partnership. And this is another new partnership. Again, a horse that's come over from Europe, this time from Niels Bruinseels. Niels, of course, extremely talented and consistent top 5-star rider. Niels had this horse until March. Now Lauren brings it over to Canada to compete in their first international show together.
Lauren is the oldest daughter of the 2-time Olympic and Canadian team member Jay Hayes and his wife Sean. So a couple members of the family in the class.
Yeah, quite a family affair then for the Hayes family. Jay Hayes already into the jump off. Just one down, a real shame. Would have been quite something to have 2 members of the same family into the jump off, but one down sadly keeps Lauren Hayes out of the jump off. Goes into 19th place at the moment. and 12 now into the jump off.
So an even dozen as we go to Carly Campbell Cooper. Da Vinci KDWZ, John Jameson's 11-year-old Zangerside gelding, again from Diamante Simile.
Carly, of course, also rides for Canada. A good number of Canadian competitors here at Angelstone tournaments. We're just outside Toronto, about half an hour outside the city. She's been jumping this horse in plenty of two-star competitions at Caledon, at Miami, at the Longines Global Champions Tour show, also at Ocala. So far this year alone. Good few top 10 placings as well. Quite a consistent combination. Takes that front rail at the first part of the double combination. Real shame there, just got a little bit deep.
Quite a quick time in the end with just the one down, so that's a really nice round for her.
Yeah, very quick on the clock. 73.89 was the time, but sadly the slightly deep shot at the double just causes them to have one fence down, so it's 4th and 15th place so far. Our fastest 4 faulting round is still Hyde Moffat, and he holds 13th spot just outside the ranks of those jump-off riders.
So is this our last chance to see Erin Ballard this week? For sure one of Canada's premier riders for many years. See if she can get into the jump off and give us one last chance to watch her go before the end of the week. And the traveling group heads to Ottawa. Clucking around the turn there.
Yeah, plenty of riders like to compete on a good few legs of the series. We don't have any repeat winners of the Grand Prix yet, but we may well see that going in the future.
Boy, she really worked hard for the B element of that triple combination. A bit of a rub, but she cleared it. But she is gritting her teeth. We can see as she comes around the turn, too.
Really kind of wraps her legs around the horse to say, come on, we've got to get a bit of forward motion, and turns out of fence, of the approach to fence 9, raises a hand as well.
You could see that coming.
Yeah, I think the way that she really sat down after fence 7 and kind of drove the horse round the corner, you could see that she just wasn't quite sure that she had the power and impulsion that she wanted. But it's still a good educational round. The horse is only a 9-year-old. Winning mood on the dam side in the breeding of that horse. So I'm sure one for the future. As we go on to our final 3 then. Natalie Dean comes next. She rides Akota M.
Natalie Dean, originally from Newport Beach, California. California rider who grew up riding there and really has been in Wellington and the East Coast and Florida and traveling abroad and riding internationally for a long time for such a young rider.
Very consistent as well. As we were saying earlier in the week, she's in the top 100 in the Longines World Rankings.
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, especially for her age, and especially, you know, we're getting more and more great competitions over in America and in Canada, giving the riders the opportunity to get more ranking points, and that's one thing that is so fantastic about Major League Show Jumping. It gives them more opportunity to get the world ranking points. But Natalie, of course, has been over to compete in Europe as well. Oh, that was a late falling pole.
Just clipped the top of the triple bar. I think that's the first time we've seen it come down today. That was a shame. She's had a really good week. She had a good go of it last night, too, in the big 5-star Grand Prix. Big jumps, very difficult course.
Yeah, it was very testing, actually. It was a really very technical course. That triple combination was one of the most difficult parts, for sure. One down, though, for Natalie Dean. Extremely fast times.
That has to be the fastest four-faulter. It is,
yeah. 71.92 was her time, and I think nipping between the flowers, between those fences, again saved her so much time. That's what Hyde Moffat did, who's the second fastest four-faulter. So yeah, she holds 13th spot at the moment, and we have 2 more riders left to bring you. The first of those is Ella Dubois-Kilty. Rides again for Canada.
This is Contria, an entry of Rachel Berube, a 12-year-old mare. Westphalian, breeding.
She jumped this horse at Caledon in July, but this is actually Ella's second international show, and second with this horse. They were second in a 2-star 2-phase competition, and then had 6 penalties in the 2-star Grand Prix at Caledon. She's done extremely well to get through to this Grand Prix. Lots of experienced competitors around her as well, all also wanting to qualify for this Grand Prix competition.
Oh. So both of the first 2 elements of the triple combination come down. That was too bad.
Nicely to the last as well, and she's done extremely well here. It's a little bit over the time allowed as well, so 12 is the total for Ella Dubois-Kilty. What a great performance for a young rider, and one who's just really coming up to the level.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be pleased with that. Sharing a warm-up ring with the likes of Kent Farrington and Aaron Ballard, Amy Miller. Great experience all around. As we head to our last rider of this first round, one of the Crusaders, Callie Schott.
Callie this morning, or we're just into the afternoon now actually, so this early afternoon competition, rides Teddy Z, owned by Dalman Show Jumping. And this is the horse that she rode on the Major League Show Jumping team competition in Traverse City. She has a 30% clear round rate with this horse over 150 to 160 fences.
She also rode him in the qualifier and was clear. Made the jump off, 1 rail down in the jump off.
It's fairly, you know, they're just kind of cementing themselves up at the very top level. They've only jumped 7 rounds of fences over this height, but pretty solid at 145. Callie had that fantastic 5-star Grand Prix win at Traverse City with Garant. Didn't quite go their way in last night's 5-star Grand Prix, but it's lovely to see her bringing Teddy to this 2-star Grand Prix as well. And really nice to that final line. Again, it's a very fast time, but just the one down, sadly. So keeps her out of the jump off, and she'll go into 15th place.
But we do have quite a sizable number of riders who did make the jump off. A long list.
Yeah, a really good list. 12 now going through into the jump off. Just to give you a little rundown of who they are and the order they'll be coming in, we start off with Samantha Rice. She'll be followed then by Vanessa Hood, Kent Farrington, Darren Glynn, Audrey Schulz, Sam Walker, Taylor St. Jacks, Richie Maloney, Nicolette Hurt, Grant Seeger, Jay Hayes, and finally Mark Blumen will round things off. But we'll take a short break now. The arena's just being prepared for the jump off. We'll be back with this action in just a few minutes' time.
Jobs may change with the seasons, but the need for power, performance, and affordability doesn't. Right now, it's the perfect time to get a great price on durable, quality Kubota equipment. Upgrade your landscaping, construction, or farming equipment and attachments, and get what you need for the months ahead. Because work never stops, and neither does Kubota. See your local Kubota dealer today.
BFL goes the extra mile just by always being there when you need them. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend, it doesn't matter if it's after hours. If you need them, they're there.
It is really important to have horse people insuring you in the horse business because they know our sport, they know our business, and they help you understand what is covered, what is not covered.
It's integral to have horse people insuring us. BFL are horse people. So we get great confidence that they know what they're doing when it comes to our coverage.
I couldn't be happier with my coverage with BFL. They're a fantastic company, and I'm so thankful to be associated with them.
Life, like work, is always in progress. You'll never really run out of things to do. It means you'll always have something new to learn. You might even discover something better. Sure, it can be hard, but you gotta be tough, like your Kubota. Because as long as you power through, you'll keep on moving forward. Kubota, for Earth, for life.
The beauty, power, and elegance of warm blood horses is no accident. A history of carefully crafted breeding practices that walk the delicate line of art and science has created a horse that is as strong as it is graceful, so that it may successfully compete at the most elite level in equine sports. Breeders can access an American Stallion station that provides both fresh chilled and frozen semen options with full transparency on semen quality. Set on 800 acres of Lexington, Kentucky bluegrass, Spy Coast Farm is revolutionizing the breeding practices of warm blood horses. World-renowned stallions with proven bloodlines that have successfully competed at the top level of international Grand Prix sport are collected by a resident veterinarian and processed promptly for shipment to a domestic breeder for a timely insemination of their ovulating mare. The experts at Spy Coast Farm are determined to improve your U.S. breeding options by taking the guesswork out of semen quality.
Well, welcome back everybody to this two-star Grand Prix. We've had a great lineup in the competition. We've got a great lineup to come for you in the jump off. This one is worth $37,000. Of course, the third goes to the winner. And we're just starting to see a few spots of rain. They brought this class forward a little bit just to try to make sure that we avoid the rain if we can. So it's holding off so far, but we have 12 competitors with their mounts coming forward into this jump off. Samantha Rice is going to kick us off with Ringwood Zebo. So the jump off course that we have here is fences 1 and 2, as you'd see. Then they go to fence 4B from round 1, and then straight on to 5. A bit of a left-handed swing back round to 6A and B. This is a double combination. I was going to say it caused a few problems in round 1. Now it's causing a few problems in the jump off.
She took a rather straight approach. I didn't see anything.
No, I'm not quite sure what the issue was there. They go now from 6B, that was of course a C element in round 1, to 12 and 13. The final 2 fences from round 1. It's quite a long jump off course actually. She is over the time allowed, which is 48 seconds, and so that gives her a total score of 11. It's a little bit of a twisting turning jump off. Only really one place that they can make a tight turn, from 5 then to 6A. From 6B to 12 they can have a little bit of a gallop across the middle of the arena, but it's not too much of a turn to make. But an 11 faulting round to kick things off for us with Samantha Rice. Vanessa Hood comes in just as the rain is beginning to set in a little bit.
Raining just a little bit harder. It's still not too bad. I would still consider it a light rain. We'll see if it can hold off for 10 more riders.
Well, fingers crossed. We saw quite a downpour on day 1, but we've had beautiful weather ever since. Vanessa Hood's had a great week so far. Such a talented rider, and she's had a good number of rides here. This one is Easy Girl. She took her time in the first round, but of course within the time allowed. But impressive to have 12 combinations forward in this jump off. Gets nicely away from fence 2. 4B on the angle. Doesn't look to be in a rush, but she's keeping up a good rhythm, isn't she?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if some of the later riders take a more direct route to that Kubota jump.
Gives us our first double clear though, 37.82. I should think we might see that time being beaten, and I think our next rider might well do just that.
So he goes early in this jump off. He has been later in the order in the last couple of jump offs that we've seen him in. Mark Blumen has the opportunity to go last in this jump off today. So Kent going rather early. It'll be interesting to see what time he lays down and the approach he takes.
Kent with wins under his belt already this week. Says he's very, very excited about his up-and-coming horses. Says it's a bit of a development year, but still gets the wins.
Yep.
Tulina, just an 8-year-old mare by Toulon. it's just so smooth to watch.
And a much more direct route to the Kubota jump.
I think they've got to be a little bit careful there not to take it too much on the angle so they can then get to 13, but yeah, a good way faster. It's 35.16 for Kent Farrington. He's more than 2 seconds faster than Vanessa Hood. Again, didn't look like he was pushing it though, did he?
I was just going to say that he wasn't pushing it too much. It certainly, you'd think could be a time if someone wanted to go for it, it can be bested, but he did it so beautifully. Of course, if you try to push it too much, then a rail can be a casualty, but really a great mark to reach for. The time to beat now 35.16.
Yeah, great time laid down there. Have a good few fast riders to come, but also have some young horses, so it's possible that we might see some of these riders giving them an educational sort of smooth, rhythmical ride rather than really going for it. This is another 8-year-old ridden by Darren Lynn. Got quite a good pace up already.
Yep.
Horse is Odile VDM. I wonder how many times this week we've seen at the top of our screens time to beat Kent Farrington.
A lot. That was quite nice. Didn't seem like too severe of an angle, but it was nice. Yeah, and just a sort of nicer pace around. He's even behind Vanessa's time at 37.88.
Nice to have a double clear on the score sheet, though. So Kent still leads. Darren Lynn takes 3rd spot so far. Samantha Rice in 4th. On then to Audrey Schulz. She rides Darkito. An 11-year-old Hanoverian gelding. And again, this was a fairly fast round in the first round.
This is a rider who started at Backcountry Farm in Greenwich, Connecticut. The training setup of Jill Schulman, Sid's mom.
That was quite quick from fence 2 to 4B. She's perhaps had a look here and seen where she thinks she could take some time out. That's a nice line to the Kubota upright. She's good for time. Wow. Oh, 35.21. She's 0.05 of a second behind Kent Farrington's time.
I knew she was close, and we saw her cross at 34. Look, that timer's a little bit, maybe a hair further up than the jump. 35.21 is still an awesome time for that young rider. Sure, she'll be thrilled to be 0.05 of a second behind Kent Farrington for the minute.
Absolutely. Brilliant, brilliant round. She holds 2nd spot. We've got 6 or 7 riders still to come. Next is for Canada. It's Sam Walker with Angelica Hero Z.
How much would he level win here this week?
I think Sam's had a little bit of an unlucky time so far this week. It was an unlucky pole in the 5-star Grand Prix last night. Talented young rider who, you know, sometimes you forget his relatively young age with so many of his achievements. Quickly away from the double. Didn't quite get the stride he wanted at 12, but
yeah, 35.51. So Audrey Schultz's time is holding up for 2nd place right now, and Sam Walker moves right into 3rd.
It was nicely done. 35 seconds-ish looks like about the time that's pretty popular with these riders. So Sam takes 3rd.
We'll see if Taylor St. Jacques can go faster. She is a very fast rider, but not too much experience in the Grand Prix at the highest level. Still a developing young rider. in the jumper ring.
Jackilly is her rider, is another 8-year-old, this time a mare by Harley VDL, owned by the Towel Millstein stables.
And she's going for speed.
Yeah, she really is. She's got a much faster pace up here at the early stage than some of the other competitors. Oh, that's a good shot to 4B. We can hear a couple of spectators behind our commentary box, and there's somebody extremely impressed by this horse's pace.
She's got to get this turn.
Well, they might be.
Yep.
One fence left. Really good for time.
Yep.
Oh, brilliantly done.
Good for her. Under 35 seconds, the first combination to be under 35 seconds in this jump off. So no matter what happens, Taylor St. Jacques will have an impressive placing in this 2-star Grand Prix. All smiles as she leaves the ring and gives her horse a big pat.
Great, great job there.
You can see her smile from here.
What a brilliant, brilliant round.
That's a great result for her.
Sub 35 seconds. Knocks Kent Farrington into second place.
How about that?
Not often you can say
No.
that. Richie Maloney next then for Ireland with Sherlock 46. Richie's 8th to go here. And remember, we have 12 in our lineup for the jump off. 34.76 now the time to beat.
His tie is already flying in the wind. You know he's going fast. He's galloping, but had to go quite wide to get to the Kubota.
Yeah, he's on 30 seconds now. Ooh.
Whoa! Wow,
Ooh.
he might have had the time there, obviously. Just gets the final rail as he left out a stride to gallop to the last. He did have a better time, but does clip the back end of that Oxer to finish.
Yeah, he was really going for the final fence. He knew it was a little bit of a way away, but 34.43, just the one fence down. It's going to slot him into 7th place at the moment.
We've had 6 clears.
6 double clears, yeah. It's a fantastically consistent and talented lineup that we've got here. I mean, to have 6 double clears already is really impressive.
Yeah. Great riding this morning into the early afternoon here at Angelstone. Final day of competition. What's been a spectacular 5-star week.
Nicolette Hurt comes next then with Manolo Z, a 9-year-old, another fairly young horse. Quite economical over fence 2, but doesn't touch the fence. Quite an efficient jumper, this. Has a bit of a turn in the air. Slight stumble might have wasted her a little bit of time. Well, good to the last, and I still think that's a pretty good time, you know, 37.36. It is nearly 3 seconds outside Taylor St. Jacques' time, though, so that means that Nicolette Hurt takes 5th.
She's in 5th with 3 remaining. Grant Seeger is the first of those 3 on Yogi.
Grant Seeger, again, a rider that we've seen in plenty of the competitions this week so far. Yogi, the horse that he's been campaigning at the 2 stars. .76.17 was his time in the first round. bigger striding horse here.
Easy to the PFAF jump. Really galloping around to get to the Kubota. He hit it perfectly, but does add the extra stride, so that'll cost him a little time. He was still fast.
Yeah, he's gone ahead of Kent Farrington there actually as well. So Grant Seeger takes the second place slot at the moment, 35.02. And again, you know, he at some points in that course he didn't look to be rushing, but really made use of that big stride to get pretty close to Taylor's time. Not quite close enough though. 35.02 takes him into second.
That's excellent. And here's your guy, Elton John.
Jay Hayes piloting this interestingly named horse for Canada. He's our penultimate competitor in this jump off. 34.76 still the time to beat. Keeps the pace around the turn well. Ooh, that's a good time too. It just our clock sort of stops and then the time is calculated. It's 36.02 for Jay Hayes and Elton John. Sixth is their score, is their placing so far, and we just have one rider still to come. Taylor St. Jacques will be no worse than second, and Grant Seeger is certainly on the podium. Kent Farrington's in third. Mark Blumen is the only rider who could potentially knock Kent off the podium. But it was a very fast time, and extremely fast is what it's going to take the top spot here.
And it's a young horse, an 8-year-old mare that Mark is on. We'll see how much he pushes. That was fast.
He was almost already on the turn before he landed.
He's in quite good shape if he leaves the last two up.
Oh wow, okay, that is a very fast
He did.
time. 33.7, that is extremely fast. So it means that it's a win for Mark Blumen and Esther de Maugret, just heading about a second faster actually than Taylor St. Jacques, and rather uncharacteristically, it knocks Kent Farrington off the podium.
Right off the podium, and it's a win for Mark, and Taylor St. Jacques will be thrilled with her silver medal. Grant Seeger will be thrilled to be on the podium as well in the third position with Yogi, a horse that he's ridden so well this week. So quite a great finish. 12 in the jump off. We saw some terrific rounds, a lot of double clears, and some really good riding this morning into the afternoon.
Well, there's the top five for you. Mark Blumen takes the win with Esther de Maugret. Taylor St. Jacques takes second spot. Grant Seeger the third. Kent Farrington fourth. Audrey Schulz rounds out the top five. But yeah, it's been a great competition. Great to have missed a little bit of the rain, and great to come through this final competition of the weekend, the final two-star Grand Prix with all of you, and real pleasure to do so alongside you, Deb.
It was an absolute pleasure to work with you and to watch such great showmanship and such a fabulous horse show all week long. Different classes, different riders, some ups and downs as there always are at horse shows, but we saw a fantastic competition, and just so great to be here. Let's do it again.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait for the next leg, and I do hope all of you will join us for leg 4 of the Major League Show Jumping Series. We'll be bringing you all that action live once again on MLSJ TV. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Elton John, so great to see him in the top 10 here in such a high-ranked class. And then we'll follow up with young guy Sam Walker, Angelica Hero Z. He had a double clear round today, but just off the mark here, sliding down off the podium. And fifth place honor is going to go to Audrey Schultze from the United States of America with Darkito. And just off the podium is going to be Kent Farrington and Tulena. And we'll get set right now to welcome our winners into the ring here. We've got all three horses. If we could have our riders make their way over to the podium and please dismount. Beautiful limited edition Angel Stone cooler there with the Major League show jumping colors. Those look wonderful. It's great to see them dressed up there, those gorgeous horses. We truly are happy that everyone decided to come and visit us up here in Canada. We're a unique show run by a unique cast of characters here, and it's so great to share this little horse park with all of you visiting us from the United States and all parts of the world for this special week of show jumping here in Canada. It really is a special week for us, and we hope you enjoyed your time here in Canada and choose to come back and see us again at Angel Stone in the future. Last night was an incredible time. We all celebrated afterwards. These 2 years of COVID, I think everyone forgot how to have fun. So last night was a good time to get everybody back in mode again, and there was a lot of smiles from ear to ear. And we are now about to set our presentation ceremony here. We welcome Kean White, president of Angel Stone and founder, and of course Mackenzie Collins here to the ring. And we are set to award on the podium right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium, riding from the United States of America, visiting Angel Stone for the first time, Grant Sager and Yogi, FLP. And she positively thrilled the crowds this week, and she is definitely ascending. So great to see young Canadian talent up there on the podium. This is Taylor St. Jacques and Yakili. Second place today in the Ram Trucks Grand Prix. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we honor our winner from the great country of Colombia. Please welcome to the top position on the podium, Mr. Mark Blumen and Esther de Maugret. Mark was so fast today, absolutely blazing around the course. He had a full second on Taylor. She gave it all her way. Held it almost to the end, but with Mark Blumen breathing down your neck, you know that time has a risk of falling, and that's exactly what Mark did. Great ride for him. We absolutely love him at Angel Stone, and the crowd is definitely beginning to take notice of our international riders. We love having them here. And now we turn it over for the playing of the Colombian national anthem. If you'd please rise and remove your headwear in honor of our winner, Mark Blumen. Congratulations to all our winners. Great to see the anthem of Colombia being played here. We got a great international field of riders, competitors here at Angelstone. That's what Major League Show Jumping is all about. It's a truly international sport where we have men and women compete on the same field of play on an equal level with these amazing, incredible athletes as their partners. We'd also like to thank all the exceptional grooms who have been with us here today, traveling to Canada with these amazing horses and keeping them in top form. The grooms always take such great care of our athletes, and the riders could not do it without them. Let's get all of our riders back on their horses, and we'll gallop off, cross the VIP, and send these guys off in Grand Angelstone style. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are your winners of the $37,000 $200 Graham Trucks CSI 2-Star Grand Prix here at Angelstone. Your winner across the VIP right now. Put your hands together for Mark Blumen and Esther de Maugret. Taylor Saint-Jacques and Jacquili. And Grant Sager and Yogi FLP. Those are your winners here at Angelstone in the Ram Trucks Grand Prix. Stay tuned. We're going to get things set for our final class of the afternoon. We're going to be presenting the Modified Grand Prix presented by Horseflight.